We welcome everyone to the Know Your Alumni Series organized by Shri College of Commerce. Billions of Indians have used an app, but they used to save money by clicking around pictures, by looking at what discount the retailers are giving us. The simple app transformed the journey for millions of Indians looking to budget their money a little bit more than usual. Today we have with us one of our eminent alumni, Mr. Mawandia from B.A. Eco Honors, batch of 2002 to 2005, the co-founder of MagicPin. We are very happy to have you here. Please share with us, how did you join SRCC? Thank you.
So, yeah, going back to 2002, right? In the SRCC was a dream institution for me. It was a dream college. I really, really wanted to get through SRCC. So when I finished my 12th and I got my results, I was in the ballpark of getting admission into college. I came in the summary and applied to all colleges, but because of the same. But my dream was to come to SRCC. I come, meet people, I will understand what's happening, apply for the process. And when the cutoff list came out, it was amazing. My dad hugged me and he said, "Wow, it's amazing that you now got through this." This was a total dream come true for our entire family at that time.
So if I go back to your class 12 days, how was it at that point of time? What had you heard about SRCC? How did this in your dreams come about? Oh, this is SRCC where I want to.
So I think everywhere, it was talked about to be the number one college in Asia, right? The top institute to go to, right? And it was in Delhi, which also was something that I was always fascinated by. I'd lived in Jaipur and I lived in Bahadurpur, a small town. I'd studied in Darjeeling as well, but I really wanted to be out there to come and get more exposure. And there's no better college than come to SRCC and do that that wish.
Okay, that's great. So how has been your journey to SRCC? A 3-year BA Honors Economics program. How did you go through that process?
No, I think it was incredible actually. It was a mix of experiences, right? I was in the hostel as well here. I came in very nervous, just a 18-year-old who came to college, met like a lot of bright minds, right? In the previous life, I was like a champion in the small world that I was in. Here I came and it opened up the world to me because it was a melting pot of the best minds of the country coming together from all over the country, right? And that was just amazing exposure for me. And what that led to was learning, understanding, being hyper competitive, and enjoying the whole experience of just learning and doing things together. Staying in the hostel was also great, right? Because that taught us to do so many things so differently, and the bonding was just exceptional with us being together. So the SRCC journey, all in all, was fascinating for me in terms of learning, grit. I was in fact also part of the hockey team here. Just to narrate how that went, we were like literally the bottommost team in all of university and for many years. And in that year, for some reason, bunch of us just got together and said, we want to come together and change that. I played sports and been involved with sports in school as well. Okay. But what we did was at every 6 a.m., we'd all come together, and there was this ma'am, Kuljeet Kaur ma'am, who is still here. Oh, she's still here. She'd bring us all together and she'd beat us up to make sure that we get there, practice for 2-3 hours. And then, at the end of that season, we actually ended up at number 3. It was like an underdog that came and won. It was just a fascinating experience for us. Also, what kept us going was the refreshments. We just got इरफान करके यहाँ पे एक मैगी एंड बंटा मिलता था, वो हमें सुनने मिलता था. So that also, like all of these memories I take back, and it was just a great experience for me and a lot of friends that I made here at SRCC.
Speaking of your friends, so how was the things at Cherished, as they're now called, the people who stay at hostel? So which hostel were you at?
I started in A block.
Okay.
And then went to B block. So that was in the first year. And then there was a senior thing, which was second and third year. We came in, and I remember those days, right? We'd not have money. None of us had money. And it used to be hot. There was the first, I don't know, has EC today? There was no,
Still doesn't have.
okay, it doesn't have. It used to be hot, right? In July, you're in the top floor, and like there was no AC. In fact, we had to put our fan together. And I had a roommate who both of us didn't want to spend on getting the fan also. So what we did was, a group of our friends, we actually rented cooler and put a cooler in it. So that was the starting experience where we didn't have money, but we said let's all pull together, and we had like literally 8 of us sleeping in one room. There's a bunch of we had these group of friends who were basketball players. They played for the college, and we'd all just get together, sleep together. It was like a great experience to just be together. I think what hostel and we made good friends, right? What it taught us was कि लड़की कैसे पटानी है. Never done that. Heartbreak, how to handle a heartbreak, how to live for days at, let's say, like a 500 rupee budget, right? 30-40 दिन कैसे बिताना है, right? It just taught us so many of these life lessons that were like very difficult to learn in classroom coaching, I'd say. And speaking of the second part, you met your life partner here. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So, yeah, if I had to say, like, SRCC has given me a lot, right? And one of the biggest thing that I've got is my wife currently. She was in my batch. We joined together in 2002, and we started dating heavy. And it's been great. We've grown together, right? We've spent now 23 years of our life together. We've grown together. She's herself very successful today, and we've got 2 very beautiful kids together today.
That's fantastic. You, in fact, used to joke at one time that SRCC people only marry SR people. So for it's always
It was our batch as well, yes. That's always there. And
coming to this, at what point did you decide that you would be starting your entrepreneurship journey?
well, nothing was planned. So actually, nothing was planned. Um, the From college directly, I went to McKinsey. I was very fortunate and privileged to get picked up by McKinsey amongst one of the top companies who pick very few students from across campuses. I got selected and again got through because of SRCC. Um, Spent a couple of years. Fortunately or unfortunately, my wife had by then completed her MBA in 2 years, and she had given me an ultimatum that if you don't plan to get married to me in the next 2 years, I will get married to someone else. So my life then meant that I need to go into an MBA. So I did a 2-year MBA, and post that got immediately married just after MBA. And then I started my journey as an investment banker. I spent 6 years in investment banking, helping companies raise capital, to M&A, work very closely with CXOs and advise them on how they should grow their business to capital raise or M&A, etc. Um, and and then, like, I think it got to a point where all of that work became a process. I needed a new challenge. So at that point, I said, this is the right time to go and get started with MagicPin.
So can you just walk us that idea that how did you even conceive of an app like that? What was the trigger point which thought, yes, this might work?
So, very interesting macro points. This is 2015, very interesting macro points. One, data was starting to get cheaper, right? It was available, it was starting to get cheaper because of Geo and other things, right? Smartphones were becoming more common, right? In India, you could see that everyone now has a smartphone. Costs were getting cheaper and more phones are getting yours. Online was, by the way, becoming really big. It still was 5% at that time. And we took a contrarian view to say that, look, offline continues to be 95% of India's consumption. And it'll continue to be that way. It'll get to maybe 80% in 15, 20 years of time. And that's true even today, 10 years from then, it's still at 90%, which is offline. And we said we will help the offline retailers get business. Right? We will drive growth to the offline retail while everyone's talking about online and Amazon, Flipkart, and it's did out very well for us, right? The market is very large and the retail market has grown a lot and offline consumption has continued to grow, right? So that was the basis of starting MagicPin, to help retailers get business and to help consumers discover what's around them. There was no other platform that allowed consumers to discover what's around them and then go and shop at those outlets. So I think that was the genesis of MagicPin. And today we're at a good point with more than 2 lakh retail partners and millions of consumers.
to our viewers. MagicPin has hit the door of 800 crore rupees this year. So being very humble. And I'm now tempted to ask, 800 crore rupees, that's by any stretch a long number to be right. How do you stay so humble? Out after all that success.
No, I think one of the values, and I'm thinking about it, SRCC has actually done a lot of that to us, right? There was a lot of uh, greatness within college that we saw, but we had to make sure we put our head down and continue to keep moving forward. So I think it's very, very important to be humble and continue to just do a lot of hard work. And some of these things will follow, right? There's a lot of luck involved, and hence you need to continue to be grounded and humble and not get excited by a lot of success or stuff happening around you.
Uh, the memories from the college that you still cherish a lot in specific places, something that you could tell us if I have to come to SRCC again and again. This is the place I will come again.
No, I loved a lot of places, right? To start with, our canteen, which smelt of samosa and gossip, the Desky point, and I don't know what it's called right now. That was a very beautiful point where we just sit around and
Okay, now it's called the Amul Point.
okay, yeah. So where we used to just sit around and chat with our it's Desky because all the day scholars would come there. Okay, so we chat there. I think the library was a very important, interesting place for me, where I actually spent the last 2 months before the exam. I'd literally spend the whole day in the library. I'd studied for 16 hours. But I think uh, what was very powerful when I joined college, I started to love reading, and I think that happened because of the teachers here, because of the people I met here. I was not into reading by then, and I think that one thing I started to love, and that has brought me very far. I believe that reading is a great habit to build, and that's why I loved the library I used to spend my time. And of course, the hostel, right? Hostel and the sports grounds and Irfan's Maggie Pot. I think like these are all very, very cherished memories of college.
In fact, I now just think to I could tell there isn't any area in the college you would have cherished.
The college was special to me in many, many ways.
Any teacher you remember in particular who you think, yes, this is the teacher I would like to have a handshake again with?
No, I've seen many teachers, right? Across different years, across different courses, a lot of teachers had a lot of impact on me. I think the one thing that stood out for teachers here was they used to push us to be curious and learn outside of what's in the books. So I think that had a very lasting impact on me. And like I said, like I picked up reading because of the push and nudge from the faculty and teachers that were there here.
That's very nice. And in fact, this continues to remain a trend at SRCC, where this sort of unique symbiosis that we have between students and teachers. Students continue to push teachers to become better, and in return, we return the favor. Uh, you must have often heard in this thing that SRCC is now rank one. It was still rank one in many places. Uh, how are your reactions to that? This year, in fact, we had CUET. And we were the most preferred college in the University of Delhi for BCom orders. In fact, the most preferred college across all courses.
So there's always a sense of pride. I can tell you, I meet so many people, and my work also requires me to hear a lot of senior leaders, investors, right? And I can tell you that when anyone hears SRCC, they have this sense of quality, credibility that instantly fills that conversation. So I think I'm always filled with a sense of pride about SRCC and what the college has done to me and given for sure.
Vivek, how would you look at your viewpoint with respect to entrepreneurship for students, being very successful in the field for yourself? How would you see that a student of India today has to have a viewpoint or an outlook towards entrepreneurship?
Well, I think one of the most important things, right, in entrepreneurship is actually to be extremely curious about what's happening around you. Be bold, be ambitious, and like have the fearlessness to fail. Right? I think some of these things are extremely important. If you want to be an entrepreneur and if you want to be successful, you need to be ambitious. You need to have the hustle. You need to be extremely curious and be ready to fail. And failure come every day. Trust me, for the last 10 years, every day I am firefighting. Right. And every day I need to think about scale and I need to think about profitability and how to keep growing. But every day will fail. And hence you need to keep experimenting, keep learning, and keep failing. And that's extremely important if you want to go out and be an entrepreneur. And the best way to do it is actually to just go and do it. That-
So I think we could extrapolate this question. How do you envisage an entrepreneurial ecosystem for SRCs?
Yeah, so I do think like the college should become like a hub for innovation and entrepreneurship, right? And we talked about some of the initiatives that have come about, which is setting up courses for students, right? Making them extremely practical, getting in industry leaders, entrepreneurs, investors to come and talk about, making it extremely practical in terms of implementation is going to be core. And then providing support, mentorship through this network of alumni or investors or industry experts with capital support initially, correct, would be extremely and in some of the colleges, what they have done is they said, you go out and start up, um, and if you fail, you can come back and sit for placements. Let's say. So there's some safety net that's provided that allows people to go out and take the risk. See, there's a lot of small town students that come to Shri, right? Right. And they'd want some of that. Of course, you need to take the risk and be out there. But it's great if the college can provide mentorship through the network, capital, as well as some ability to say that, hey, you can come back to us and we'll provide the next level in case this fits.
What messages would you like to give to our students right now who are looking especially at entrepreneurial journey, uh, especially spaces like this? How do they look at new ventures, new opportunities?
Yeah. So, like, few things that really matter, right? When you are looking to start a business, uh, what's the total market size addressable, and can you foresee you doing something that then create asset demand? So, what's the total addressable market that you know? Like, do what kind of team can you build, right? Can you build, let's say, founder capabilities which are complementary to your success, right? Three, start thinking about some of the things around disruption that technologies, right? How can you use AI in your day to day such that you can use that as you keep growing and progressing? Um, and then, like, what is really important is to think about ways in which uh, you can be ambitious, hungry, and go out and take risk and build a business. Right?
Right.
All of these will become really important as you're thinking about building a business, right? What's the size of the industry? What kind of capabilities do you have? What kind of capabilities you need to build by yourself, or finding people who are your co-founders or founding team or team who can complement those things. Okay. How can you use technology to your advantage and not allowed to get disrupted as you grow and scale? Um, and then just developing skills around, let's say, problem solving, right? Um, skills around just leadership, people management, right? Some of these things are extremely important that you start thinking about on a daily basis and then work towards um, making yourself better every day at thinking about each of these problems. Right? You've got time on your side, right? I'd say you've got time on your side. Uh, and the sooner you start, the more these things compound and have a magnified impact, right? You can, and like, embrace failure, right? And I said that earlier as well. I think just embracing failure and being ready to try things and then failing, accept that and go out and make it happen.
This is one question which I found from a particular instance in your answer is this role of AI. There are two sentiments prevailing right now. One is a lot for AI will take our job. Second is AI will create jobs. Which side of the spectrum do you think should our students be looking at?
Yeah, I'd use AI to build and grow things. I'm not sure it's about jobs or not jobs. I think how it enhances the capability of what we can achieve. Actually, one person can now do 10x or 100x of what they were able to do, right? We need to keep upskilling ourselves and make sure that we're using technology, like I was saying, or AI in the right way, such that we can scale out things at a much, much faster rate. Some of the lower end jobs, let's say, are likely to get disrupted. But actually, people who continue to upskill, and it's actually very, very important to keep upskilling yourself, you'd become extremely powerful, right? You'd be 10x, 100x more powerful than a person without AI in the past.
This what skills would our students like to buy as you focus rightly that they need to have a set of skills. So what skills do you envisage should a student have in 2025 to make a headway in industry or in entrepreneurship?
I think it's this combination of being able to problem solve by being extremely curious and going out and thinking. Um, the other is just leadership and how you can handle problems and having a serious bias for action. Right? Just taking problems and experimenting, trying things, and then letting it succeed and scaling that, or letting it fail, trying something new and then succeed. Building that, and it's not natural. The reason I'm emphasizing it's not normal or natural. I think most people would think differently, right? But it's extremely important to build this skill set to be able to succeed uh, in industry or entrepreneurship. Right? Both have their own kind of challenges. And with scale, the kind of complexity that comes, if you don't have these skill sets, it's extremely difficult to handle and contain them.
So what I could gather from this is that there has to be a marked emphasis on the personal skills over technical skills. So maybe in our students too, you would emphasize that focusing on the psychological part, values like leadership, which I would think come from your sports. These are the skills which our students need to work out more over having, let's say, understanding a Python program.
Yes, and both are important, right? Like to an extent, AI has simplified some of it, right? The Python program or Excel or PowerPoint, all of these have got to simplify it. But the ability to think, right? And that's also getting simplified, but that's still like a lot of horsepower and edge that provides you.
And I don't think right now anybody is building in AI creativity.
Yeah,
At least not entrepreneurial creativity. What message would you like to give our fellow alumni?
yeah, I do think we have a very, very strong alumni. And I request our alumni to find the time to mentor students, to coach them, and like help them in any way, right? I think if we can even make one person successful through the time that we invest behind the student community, that's extremely powerful because we have a very, very large and powerful alumni network.
One very important question. So our college turns 100 in 2026.
Yeah.
Uh, how do you view this feat? For us, it is a momentous feat. Any institution turning 100 years, how do you say it?
Oh, it's a big one, and I'd also love to see the college become the hub of innovation and entrepreneurship. And I expect, and I do think we have an extremely strong alumni, and we should find a way to leverage that superpower that is Revan.
That's great. How do you think the alumni can contribute to the growth of the college? It in the phases that you have covered in your answers, how does alumni can contribute to the contribution of the college, to the growth of the college?
So I think as an alumni, right? If I think about maybe even myself, right, I'd say like mentorship, uh, helping students learn from my mistakes and success, and maybe even funding uh, SRCC students and alumni so that the entrepreneurship and founder community increases for SRCC.
And how do you think should the college contribute back to its alumni? What else could we do to engage further with the alumni?
Yeah, I've seen a marked change. I think I didn't see that for the last maybe first 20 years of 18 years, and last 2 3 years I've seen a marked change. Um, and I do think if the college can uh, go out and ask for more, you'll get more. We're all extremely busy in our lives, but we all, and a lot of us, right? And I've got so many friends and I know so many alumni. We all have a sense of gratitude for the college, right? And hence, like, ask us for how we can help. Create um, environment, create ways in which we can collaborate and come together and give back to college. I think there'll be a lot of alumni who would be wanting to do that and would be looking for a forum to make that happen.
Thank you so much, Navaj. It was very wonderful interacting with you, and we look forward to having you more in the college. As we move on to us into the years, we look to celebrate our entrepreneurs, our founders, people who have elevated FRCC to the status it is today.